would like to spend a couple of minutes discussing how to outline. You will be presenting an outline with your presentation. This outline is designed to be used as a way to have speaking notes in your presentation. We also call this kind of speaking extemporaneously speaking, using key talking points. But in order to effectively execute your message, you need to structure and organize it appropriately. So in the outline itself, the contents that you will need will be your name at the top of the outline, a title for the outline, and you don't have to get fancy with the title. If you just want to simply put ethical presentation outline, that would be just fine. Next, you'll have the type of structure and organization that you will be using. So in this case, it should be topical order. Next, you'll have your general purpose, which is to inform, your specific purpose, the behavioral objective, which is after hearing my presentation, my audience will insert the rest. Your central idea, which is the overall main idea of your entire presentation in one statement. Followed that with the introduction. And your introduction should include main points, so your attention getter, your central idea, your preview of main points. You will also need supporting points. So in the introduction, I ask that you write things out, just the main idea for the main points, but then you can use forms of support underneath it. You also should have connectives, so a connection from the introduction to the body. You also need to include the elements of the body, so your 5 main points and your 2 forms of support for each of the main points. And lastly, your conclusion. Your conclusion should have a review of your main points, whatever subpoints if you have them. And then, so your main points will be your central idea, restating that, reviewing your main points, and then lead the audience into a vivid close. And you'll use the overall main idea, so if you need to have subpoints in there, you should have them as well. And then lastly, your outline should contain your works cited or your bibliography page. So those are all the elements that are needed, but how do you structure and organize this? Well, you need to use proper symbolization and indentation. The symbolization are those Roman numerals, letters, and then numbers. The symbolization of them show the relationship among the ideas. So when you have a main point, you typically start out with a Roman numeral, and then whatever supporting point you have underneath that main point should be indented, because then that tells the reader, which will be me, that that supporting point goes with that main point. So here's how it should look. You'll have main points, and I have my Roman numeral here, and then my main point, and then I don't mind if you want to use letters or numbers after that, you're more than welcome to. Just whatever you decide. If you decide to go with letters, make sure that all your supporting points have letters. If you choose to go with numbers, make sure all your supporting points have numbers. And then if you have support with support, you'll want to add that. I'm just looking for a basic generic outline that contains a main point and your forms of support underneath it. So let's take a look at the guidelines for the outline. If you see here, I want you to use the guidelines as a checklist. I tell you what I want you to have on there and where I want you to have it. So your name should be in the upper right hand corner, your our course name and our course number should be in the upper right hand corner. The date should be in the upper right hand corner. Your title then should follow that, and it should be centered. And then on the left hand side, you should have your general purpose, specific purpose, and central idea. Then you're going to have your first main section, which will be your introduction. And your introduction should include an attention getter, central idea, your preview statement. And all of those elements in the introduction should be separated and labeled accordingly. Let's take a look and see what that looks like with the example outline I gave you. All right, so in the example here, I've got just the generic placeholder for student name. I've got the course name, the section number, and the date. In the center, I have the title, and because this is something that I have taken from somewhere else, you will see that I have an adopted with permission, and I give that information. Yours, you're not adopting anything, so you don't need that. You just need your title. And then the pattern of organization on the left-hand side, the general purpose, specific purpose, and then the central idea. Next, you have your introduction right here, your first main point and forms of support for the attention getter. Second main point, which is the central idea. And then your, this particular example has a statement of credibility. I'm not requiring you to do that, so I'll just take that out. Then you'll see the preview statement. Followed by the preview statement, there's a transitional phrase or a connective. And then we start with the next main section of the outline, which is the body. The body should consist of, in your case, the 5 main points with at least 2 forms of support underneath it. This is a generic informative speech. It's not the same as your speech that you're doing, but it's the same type of outline that I want you to do. So your 5 main points should be in the body along with at least 2 forms of support. If you'll notice, they're using Roman numerals, and then for every supporting point, they're using letters. And then the support of the support, they're using numbers. And they're consistent with each of the main points throughout. They also have transitional phrases in between each main point, and then a transitional phrase from the body to the conclusion. The conclusion, they restate their central idea, review their main points, and lead the audience into a vivid close. So this is an excellent example of a generic outline that you can use as a guide, not a template, but as a guide to assist you in completing your outlines for your projects. Let me know if you have any questions.